Hi everyone, this is Dane, and I am going to be doing your January 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, I just want to say that there is somebody impersonating me. In the comment box below, they are going through. Their little icon in the corner is my picture. They have Dane Hart Tarot as their name. It is not me. Right now they are using the email address daneharttaro@yahoo.com. That's not me at all. And if they contact you, if anybody contacts you and says, if you would like a reading, please, email me, just let me know. It's not me. I will not solicit you for readings or for absolutely anything. My information is all in the description box below. And yeah, I'm closed to private readings, so it has none of that in there. I just want to let you know so that you are prepared and, of course, forearmed. Well, forewarned is forearmed. All right, so that said, let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from your body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. All right. So let us let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021, 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 Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. Now let's see what your chakra cards have to say. Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Oh, fantastic. These four right here. Let's see what they have to say. We'll see how this all equates back to the tarot. We start off with the sacral chakra and creativity. Oh, did I show you? Right here. There we go. And then we have truth, the throat chakra. Then we have Mother Earth, the Earth Star chakra, located 6 inches below your feet. And then finally we have rebirth, again, the Earth Star chakra, located 6 inches below your feet. Let's move this right here. Fantastic. Now the left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. Now the thing with these cards, this is called, I believe it is called the Witch's Wisdom deck. And I really love it. And one of the reasons why I had to use it, and it is just a day to connect with the ancestors, is because the person who created this deck is named Phyllis. And that was my grandma when she Anglicanized her name. That was the name she went by. Her name originally was Philomena. So here, I just have such a connection to the peace and the harmony and the ancestral truth of these cards. So I hope you love them as much as I do. So let's see right here what they have to say. The inner self. We have healing. We start off with healing. The goddess of water, which connects us to water sign energies, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, but it is the water of truth and of healing. You have the wisdom keeper. Now, all of these have different major arcana cards that we're used to. And also the elemental aspects of the tarot is what's being named of the minor arcana than the major arcana. So that's also going to be a bit different. The numbers are also different. So it seems bonkers almost when you first start, but it has such a beautiful healing to it, which is what we all need as we enter into this new year. And then we have the star right here, which is absolutely gorgeous. We have the moon. You have a lot of major arcana cards so far. You have the 3 of earth, the 2 of air, and the 3 of earth, which is the 3 of pentacles, the 2 of air, the 2 of swords, the 4 of air, which is the 4 of swords. Oh, you have the pilgrim, which I adore. That card is so beautiful. The 2 of earth, the 2 of pentacles, the 4 of fire, the 4 of wands, and the maze. Oh, wow, I like that. This maze, in accordance to the book and what they were talking about online about the maze, about the creation of the deck, this is in place of the tower. So here with the maze, it's kind of like you're entering into a time of discovery and a time of greater understanding. And life can feel like a maze. It's like, I don't know if I turn this way or turn that way or how I move forward. So that's going to be a huge emotion that you feel during this time. But this time is filled with a lot of major arcana cards, filled with this beautiful spiritual journey and quest and understanding. And it's just so powerful for you. It's just, oh, it gives me chills. It's such a powerful time, and it's really quite exquisite. I was, when I made the announcement about what's going on with the channel, it always causes me just a little bit of tightness right now because I have to let it go. But here, it's like there's such peace that came in, and that is absolutely beautiful to see. So let's see here. Ooh, I moved the wrong stone. Let's see the people who will be aiding you during this time, and then we'll get to your chakra energy. Who are the people who will be aiding Gemini, January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini? Who are the people who will be aiding Gemini, January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini? Who are the people who will be aiding Gemini, January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. These 3. And we start off here with the King of Swords. So this is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Because this is your sign energy, you're going to be very comfortable with this person in one way or another. You might not be fully comfortable with the King of Swords, because the King of Swords pushes us out of our comfort zone, is the warrior king, is the person who speaks their mind and embraces their truth. But it's in a way that you very much understand. You're like, oh yeah, I can see this, or oh, I totally understand. They cut through doubts and fears. They're the warrior king. This is a sense of you stepping into your power. You're very much taking on the ideas and the ideals of a king within your own life. And you'll be very drawn to the people who do that in their own life. You're going to be very drawn to people who, even if they have different ideas about things or different ways of living their life, everybody has their truth and their path. As long as they come from a place of love and light and peace and harmony, you have to respect the path that they walk. And that can be hard. That can be hard at times, because with the King of Swords, they're very much to the point. They're very much, this is what needs to be done. That's it. Let's go type of deal. And you could not really be stepping into that role all the time of a king. And you don't want to be guided during this time. You are entering into a time of discovery. So here, though this person aids you quite intensely and quite beautifully, you also need to follow your own path and listen to the duality of your nature and follow the way the wind takes you, quite honestly. And that's going to be very powerful for you as a Gemini and as an individual. This then leads you to Cernunnos. So this is Capricorn energy, time frame December 22nd to January 19th. This is the nature of things. So we usually think of Cernunnos, of the Devil card, because that's the one it represents in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, as something bad. But it's having us look at the chaos of nature, the chaos of the world, the fact that, you weeded the garden once, you're going to have to weed it again if you want to keep it from being overwhelmed. And the way that you're moving forward and the way that you're looking at things is kind of like, it's not bad. You're going to see things as, well, it's not necessarily bad, but it might not be necessarily what you want. And so here with Cernunnos on your side and in your corner, it's like, look at all elements. And you're going to be guided by understanding, by places, by people that have you looking at things differently and have you being very grounded within the scope and the power of reality as you're moving forward. It's a breaking of addictions. It can be somebody sharing their story, and they share their struggle, not because they want you to follow their struggle, but because they sit there and they say, that's the way we grow. The way we grow is through struggle. And maybe your struggle will not be as intense as their struggle was, but you're going to find that to really be your truth. You're going to find that through the struggle, through the heartbreak, through the pain, through the disappointment, through the unexpected outcomes of things, you find yourself standing in a place that you never imagined you would be, but winds up being a very powerful catalyst for you moving forward. And that's going to be the type of person that you're really drawn to during this time. They might not even have made the same decisions that you have made, but you're just strongly connected to the stories of people, to the ways of the world and the ideas that come forward. And then you have Sagittarius. There we go. And this is very funny because the Sagittarius time frame goes into the Capricorn time frame. And the Sagittarius time frame is November 22nd to December 21st. This is going to be a person who is very much down a spiritual quest. And you see here, they have up here different religions kind of coming forward, and you have the different religions here, you have the rainbow here, you have the cauldron, and there's a sense of success, there's a sense of connecting with the ether, of connecting with the spirit world. And as you're moving forward and as you're embracing this energy, now this can be from a person you know in real life, or this could be from somebody that you follow online or you are inspired by any form of media, it dives you deeper into the balancing of your soul, the balancing of yourself, the balancing of the power that is around you, through words that you may never have thought of speaking, through actions that you always thought like, oh, wow, that's interesting, but it's not for me. And you're going to see this power really is for you. And you are very drawn to people who step into that power, who ask the questions. Sagittarius is all about connecting with people and asking questions, which you could say that's totally yourself as a Gemini, which is absolutely true. You guys are sister signs, most definitely. But there is a sense here of diving deeper, of gaining a stronger understanding. And that's what you're doing in this world right now as you're moving forward and as you're healing as an individual. Now, before I jump right into the tarot, which I was just about to do, let's tackle the chakra energy right here. Now, the rebirth and Mother Earth absolutely go together, because what you're seeing here is you're seeing yourself reborn into your power, into your greater understanding. You're connecting with the earth, you're connecting with your ancestral self, you're connecting with your power, you're connecting with your brilliance. And this is such a strong and powerful avenue for you moving forward. This is such a brilliant place for you to be, because you're connecting with the earth in a way you hadn't anticipated, in a way you hadn't known you needed. And as you do so, you're finding yourself reborn. You're finding yourself also very drawn to the cycle of rebirth, the cycle of being that phoenix that rises from the fire. And you do so every single day. And that's here with the butterfly. It's like brief beauty that comes in, and that's every single day, is the brief beauty that comes in. We go to sleep, we wake up again, and that consciousness kind of follows us, that idea of rebirth and gaining a greater understanding. And it leads you here to your truth. It leads you to speaking your truth. And I know somebody left in the comment box, like, there's a saying that my mom has always hung on her wall that says, live in such a way that if anybody speaks ill of you, nobody will believe you. And then Spirit said, live your truth. And people were saying, well, if you live your truth, everybody's going to get super upset at you and you're not going to fit in. And that's true. But there are still those people who you may not agree with. But if you heard they did something just wrong, you would sit there and go, well, that doesn't sound like them. Like, hold up a second. And that's going to be the power of speaking your truth. And that's going to be the power of living in such a way where you're an inspiration just by the way that you live, because you let your truth be your guide. You try to do the right thing. You hold your head up high. You sit there and you embrace your individual power. And that's going to be the truth that you move forward in. And it's not that they have to like you. And it can be that some get very jealous, and there can be a group of people that don't like you at all and want to gossip and want to, spread lies, and let them. Because you are walking in a truth that is so beyond their understanding that they don't even get it. And it's going to be a small amount of people. Yes, a small amount of people can make a huge amount of problems, most definitely. But you are going to find that by stepping in your truth, it's kind of like, okay, so there was a witch in New Hampshire. Well, she wasn't a witch. She got accused of witchcraft. And she said and this was 30 years before the Salem witch trials, and she said that, this is preposterous. I am not a witch. She was really close to Native Americans. She, listened to the world around her, and she said, they're just suing me for my money. They're and my land. They wanted to steal that all away from me. And she lived in such a way where people thought she was odd, most definitely. But they sat there and they said, you know what? You are trying to steal her land. You are trying to steal her money. What the heck are you doing? And that's part of your journey, because yes, she was a pilgrim. And yes, you can say, she stole other people's lands and everything like that. But she also connected with the earth in a very powerful way, and she lived her truth. And that's what I'm seeing here. Just very profoundly, very beautifully, with your throat chakra coming forward. It's like, you may not get me, and that doesn't mean that I'm wrong. And people are going to sit there and be like, well, yeah, I don't totally get you, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong. And it doesn't mean that you get to be discounted. And that's going to be a very powerful place for you. And it connects you with your sacral chakra. And your sacral chakra is where a lot of negative energy from this life, from past lives, come in. And this is where your creativity can be stifled. Your creativity can be stunted, because it's going to be like, well, how do I embrace this when I have, past life trauma drama coming in, generational curses coming in, when I don't know how to break this cycle and to embrace my truth and my power and my greater understanding. And here it's looking at your sacral chakra, and it can be meditating on your sacral chakra, but it's also letting the creative energy within you flow forward. And it's saying, this is the power that I have. And I can't be bringing the negativity that was spoken over me when I was small. I can't be bringing the negativity that has been such a part of my life into my present. And I cleanse this to let this creative energy, to let the sexual energy, to let this power of my individual self move forward and connect with this world in a way that I thought was going to be barred from me, that I thought I didn't get to have anymore, or I thought never got to be mine. And now you step into this power, you step into this truth. And when the thoughts start coming, when my family just can't do this, or I just have terrible luck starts coming forward, you will see that if you believe even just the tiniest bit, that there's a place for you to stand. And if you stand in your truth and you connect with your nature, when you connect with your holistic self and the nature of your rebirth, as Mother Earth protects you and as you are guided, you're going to see the creativity comes forward. And you're going to see that you're able to create in such a way that it becomes an inspiration, that it becomes a powerful step forward. And the first thing that you could do is, instead of, jumping into the creative aspect of it, can be jumping into the mindset, the ideas, the thinking about it, the putting it together, the puzzling it all out, because you're working towards healing. And that's what's greatly connecting you here. It's the healing of your soul. It's the healing of yourself. It's the dreams that have been buried because, life got hard, things had to get real, you had to grow up type of thing, and you left them behind. And now there's a healing for you in your inner self. And your inner self is going to be so tremendous. It really is, because you have the major arcana cards here. You have a sense of divinity talking to you. You have a sense of you moving forward towards a greater power than you realized. And you have a sense of those generational curses, which, I love it because it's so terribly dramatic to say generational curse. And I also kind of dislike it because it makes you scared. It's not something to be scared of. What it is that your line, okay, your parentage, makes up a circle. If you can see all the people in here that are sketched in this circle, the outlines of them. So here you are made up of this circle, this never-ending chain. And you could, if you even think of your kind of like DNA makeup, you can think of it as people connected and kind of tied together. And the generational curses are the anger that was spoken over them, are the negativity that was spoken over them, that could pass down from generation to generation. Oh, we can't dream that big. Oh, we never get listened to. Oh, we're always the one to get the, to pull the bad straw, to get something bad happening to them type of mentality. Or you'll never be anything. My father didn't believe in me. My mother didn't think I could do this. That type of thing that we bring into our lives as children, and we start getting raised in them. We start getting raised in these ideas and these beliefs that stunt our creativity, that knock us from our truth, that keep us forgetting about our earthly promise here and now to transform and to become. And we forget about healing. We forget about the healing of our souls, the healings of ourselves, the power that we need to move forward. And so here, with healing, we are releasing so much of the past that has bound us. We are releasing so much of the anger that has become a part of us. And we are embracing the power that is us now. We are embracing the way that we want to move forward, the dreams that we've hidden away, the way that we've kept ourselves small or we've kept ourselves invisible. And we're saying, no, now's the time to walk forward and to move forward in my power, in my grace, and in my understanding. And as I do so, I become the goddess of water. Now, the goddess of water in this deck, it takes the place of the king. And the King of Cups is the king that says, I rule myself. The goddess of water is saying, I rule myself. You have this little tiny itsy bitsy baby right here. You have this octopus. You have this kind of developing greater understanding womb, waters of the earth. Yeah, this is a womb. This is Mother Earth right here. And these are the waters of the earth. Oh my gosh, I just saw that right around her. I like to discover the cards with you guys, most definitely. And this is a sense of power and greater understanding and communion and meditation and honor and love and brilliance. And this is a sense of you moving forward. This is a sense of you becoming the person that you want to be and realizing really quite profoundly, I only rule myself. I can only move forward in my power, in my understanding, in my truth. I can only be me. And there's so many times we try to be everything else for everybody else, where we take their anger, we take their upset, we take their pains, especially if you're empathic or if you're sensitive. And I swear to you, if you've stumbled across this channel, you're not like everybody else. You feel things more intensely, especially people's pain, that the people that you love and their pain and their disappointment and just everything that happens in life. You want to take away the hard times. But what you're going to realize is that if I don't step in my truth and if I don't take care of me, it's like draining an empty mug. Or an empty pitcher. You give it out to everybody. So then only there's nothing left for you, because you'll be taking all your energy. Think of your energy as the water that fills up that pitcher. And just think that you're always pouring it into everybody's cup, but nobody's really pouring it into yours. And you're giving so much that even if people are pouring it in, it's not to the extent that you are giving it out. And so you have to connect to you. You have to connect with your inner self. Why? Because you're going through this ancestral healing. You're going through the sense of following your stars and your wishes and finding out that the dreams can come true. The power can move me forward. I'm not stuck. I'm not small. I'm not alone. There's so much greater to me than I had ever realized. As soon as you remove the chains that have held you back for far too long, you find yourself stepping into that power. You find yourself protected in the womb of Mother Earth, in the power of this world. And that embraces you to step forward in the wisdom and in the brilliance of the wisdom keeper, of the one who sits there and says, there's more than one way to live this life. There's more than one power to move us forward. My ancestors matter. And this is a huge sense of the connection that I get with this deck, is that the ancestors matter. And the wisdom keepers keep the stories. They keep the stories of the people. They keep the stories, and they keep the voices alive. So if you look at the gods of the past, whether they be Native American gods, whether they be, European gods, whatever gods, they are from whatever pantheon, they stay alive through the telling of the stories. And they stay alive through people remembering. If people stop remembering, then the pantheon falls away. So if we stop remembering how we move forward, and it doesn't mean that we focus on the bad, because there's a heck of a lot in history that we could look at and say, this is absolutely terrible and, horrific. It should never have happened, but I'm going to remember it and make it the centerpiece of me. That really stops the creative aspect of yourself from moving forward and makes pain so prevalent, because it is proven that if we go back within our DNA line, if we suffered severe trauma, okay, that trauma is passed down to generations. It makes people more anxious, especially if it's closer to where you stand today. People who had severe trauma, but it was later on, it's kind of diminished. But if you had severe trauma, and if your ancestors had severe trauma, it's rather close to where you stand now, you're going to be a little bit more anxious. It's going to be part of this system. It's going to be like, okay, you can fall into a bit of sorrow a bit more quickly. You can have a tendency to be a little bit more on edge. And what this is saying here is that if you become a keeper of the knowledge, but also a keeper of your victories, a keeper of your story, a keeper of your truth, that anxiety starts to not fall away, but it starts to become more manageable. You start to step into a power, into a grace, into an understanding, and there starts to be a sacredness to the past, but also to the present. And that doesn't mean that it only works for people who have had really traumatic histories. It also works for everybody, because you go back far enough within anybody's line, and it was a terrible world. I mean, there were a few people who made it. There were a heck of a lot of people who didn't. And there were also a heck of a lot of people who fell. So here, when you're embracing the wisdom keeping of our world and of our souls and of ourselves and of your family line and your ancestral line and your sacred truth, you become a keeper of your stories. And that is something that we've lost. We've, we shorten everything down to like a tiny little sentence. We break it down, we break it down, we break it down until we break it down so much that it has no meaning. And here it's going back to the meaning. It's going back to the heart. It's going back to the sacredness. And it's also opening up your heart and your soul to the world's stories, to the world's deeper understanding. And it's transcending the blockages, the negativity, the anger, the upset that has held us back for too long. And you become this wisdom keeper. You become someone who's a tad bit sacred. And that's a really powerful place to be. If we look at our lives not as simply following a path that has to be followed, or existing until we don't exist anymore, but if you look at life as a sacred gift and a sacred way to move forward, that becomes a very powerful place to be. And that becomes something astoundingly powerful for you and also astoundingly freeing. It brings you to the star. It brings you to having this blessing over you. It brings you to connecting with the world in a way that you hadn't thought you would. It brings a bit of magic into your life. It brings a greater development. It brings a sacredness, because everybody who has horns, has a sacredness to them, was crowned by the forest gods. And so here it is a sense of being crowned by the earth around you, and being crowned by the power of the healing waters, and submerging yourself, not just in a cup, because the star is the temperance card, though the number is different. So as you begin your journey, you start off as the pilgrim, and then you progress. It's like stepping into the unknown, instead of at the very end of the journey, stepping into the unknown. And so here, you look at the highest form of men's perfection. You look at what it is that you most desire. You look at the way you want to embrace your truth and your power and your understanding and your heart's call. And you walk forward in confidence, in greater presence. And you say, this is me. And this is where I need to be. Submerged in the waters of my existence, submerged in the healing power of my truth. You're going to find during this time you can be very drawn to taking baths or showers. And, if you have Epsom salts, that would be great. If you like taking baths, just putting the Epsom salts in, cleansing away a lot of negativity, and rising in your power, in your truth, as the star, lays over your heart chakra, but also where your heart chakra and your throat chakra meet, as you step into the power of yourself, as you look at your dreams and what you desire and the way that you want to move forward. And divinity starts to hear. Divinity starts to pour the waters forward and starts to guide you in a way that you hadn't anticipated. And yes, there can be sorrow from that, because you are being reborn in a way. You are looking at the balance within yourself and seeing the path you need to walk. But your song and your soul is calling for this. And that's where the moon comes in. There's the moon that is crowning you right here. It also looks like the moon is crowning the wolves. So there is a sense of deeper wisdom, deeper power. It's the crescent. It cradles, but it also evolves and grows and gains in understanding. And these can be horns. This can also be the moon coming up behind her. And I know the trees are there, so it's a rather whimsical and maybe a bit mind-stretching to understand. But there's a power here that you are embracing. There's a way that you are cleansing yourself of a lot of the sorrows, a lot of the doubts, a lot of the fears that have held you back. And you're going to see yourself calling to your strength, calling to your power, calling to your truth, sitting there and saying, how do I move forward? And where is it that I want to be? And what is it that I desire from my life? And how do I gain my power and see my truth and call not to my fears, but to the song I hold inside of me? And how do I lead as wolves lead in a pack that shares this song, in a pack that understands this truth? How do I find my pack? How do I find my connection? And it doesn't have to be with a whole bunch of people. If you have 2 really good people in your life who get you, that can be more than enough. Or just one really good person who gets you. Oh my gosh, if you have one close friend, close person, doesn't matter if they're a friend, a partner, a sibling, a parent who gets you, who sees you, that's astounding. And that can change the world. And so here, and definitely your world, that here, there's your heart calling for that song. It is your heart facing fears and doubts and anxieties and finding a greater understanding and moving forward in a greater truth. And you're going to see this movement, this connection, this freedom. It's part of the land, right? So we have this here. And we see that, of course, I forget where in England it is. I believe it is in England, yes. And with the 3 of Earth, it's like there's new horizons. There's new ways forward. There's a sense of leaving the old behind and embracing a greater sense of soul, of self, of desires, of understanding. And it's a sense that brings about freedom. Horses represent freedom. It represents an ability, especially in ancient times, to move more swiftly than you could have imagined. And it is a sense of power and of wealth and of understanding and new horizons leading you forward. And the earth is calling to you to go on an adventure. You can feel it in your bones. It's kind of like, I need to break out of my shell. You might have found that you're in your shell a little bit more, even though everything has happened in the world and you find that, the cocoon is there. But you could have found before that, the world became very, very small. It became a sense of, well, I can only do this, or I can only move forward this way, and I can only be like this. And you're going to find that your soul is calling for a greater world, a new horizon, a greater way of embracing your strengths and your desires and what you want from life and where it is that you want to be and the purpose of your existence and the power of your being. And it fills your lungs. It fills your lungs with the song, with the song of your truth. Here we have the Two of Air. And the Two of Air, when I first looked at it, it looks like a heart, right? Right here, if you have this part of the heart, ooh, there we go, and this part of the heart kind of moving forward. But if you also look at it, it looks like lungs. And this is saying you always thought you had two paths. Excuse me. Okay. You always thought you had two paths. And those two paths moving forward, you might have thought, oh, I can do this. Like I could be this type of person, or I could be this type of person. But you might have found that neither one of them really fit you. You might have thought, okay, I can be like this. That's awesome. But I kind of also want to be like this. But I don't know how. Or you might have thought, okay, this path and this path, I don't know. Like, okay, I'll choose this one because it kind of fits me a little bit more than this path. You know, when they say, oh, you have to do one thing or another, you have to be this way or that way. And so you're trying, right? You're trying to figure it out. But you might have found, like I found, that the paths, they don't really fit. The way everybody marches forward is not the way I wanted to march forward at all. And I tried, and it broke my heart. It did. It broke my heart. And it was just sucking the life out of me bit by bit by bit. And I think that's more common in our world than we like to admit. It's like, oh no, I'm great. You know, oh look, I'm doing better than so and I'm, you know, moving forward, and or I have, you know, this and I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm good. And you're not. And the deep down inside, it's like, I'm not connected. I don't know how. My lungs are not filling with my truth. And you're going to find that you need to breathe in, and you need to have your lungs filling with your truth, with your understanding, with your voice, because pathways then start to open, new horizons open, and that's when you start to see it. It's like your song gets answered, your fears get looked at, and you might be thinking, oh, everybody's going to laugh at me, or nobody's going to understand this path, or oh my gosh, this is so ridiculous, they're not even going to get it. And then you see your horizon opening. It's kind of like, but if I don't try, then I'll never get there. If not now, then never. And it can be that you just start by thinking about it. It can be that it just starts becoming a sacred dream. And then it can move into becoming part of your reality, thinking about things, talking about things, sharing this inspiration. And then it can move to stepping into that dream and letting that dream be a part of your reality in such a profound, in such a brilliant way that it fills your lungs with your truth. And it starts moving you forward in a way that you hadn't expected. And where people used to mock you, now you stand in power and you sit there and you think, wow, I could really mock them right now because I am stepping into the power, the beauty, and the wisdom that is me. And I'm walking that path, that truth. And it brings you to the four of air. It brings you to a sense of honoring every single hardship, every single disappointment, every single setback you have been through, even if it's right now, even if you're not done with it, you see yourself honoring who you are and who you were. And there are always going to be hardships that come in our way. There are always going to be scars that move us forward or that try to stop us and that sit there and say, oh, well, you can't do that. And don't you remember when your, art teacher in grade school told you that you weren't any good at it, type of thing, or that you weren't a good athlete, or that you weren't good at math or at reading or at science or language or whatever. And you're finding out that it was a lie, and that you are far more talented than you ever gave yourself credit for. But you're honoring the past, and you're also especially honoring the hurt because you're calling it forward and you're holding space for it. And I know it sounds silly sometimes to say I'm holding space, but when you do a meditation and you visualize yourself standing before or sitting at a table or, standing in kind of like a banquet room, and you call the part of you forward that is afraid, and you call the parts of you forward that is afraid, and they're kind of like mingling in their kind of pity party, oh, I'm afraid of this, no, I'm scared of that type of thing, and you call them forward and you talk to them. And it's like, well, why are you afraid of walking this path? Like, why are you afraid of this aspect? And then you're going to see that the hurt usually starts off when we're very small. And it can be something that other people would laugh at and say, oh, that's your fear? Like, come on, that's not scary at all. But it is your fear. And it builds. It builds from being maybe something small, like I'm afraid of being, it's not small to say I'm afraid of being lost, but it could have been like you were out shopping with your parents and then you kind of got left behind and you looked around for a moment and for a moment you didn't know where they were, and then you found them and you're like, oh my gosh, I never want to feel that feeling again. And it sounds silly to say, but it is so powerful. And so you address that. It's like, no, I'm not going to be lost. I'm not going to not be around people who care about me or around, that spiritual energy that cares about me. And so you start to honor the hurts and the heartbreaks, the divorce. You start to honor the, for some, losing everything. For others, it's being mocked and ridiculed and people not thinking that you can accomplish your dreams. You honor every single part of the life that you have lived, that you have stood through, that you have stood tall, and you stand in pride of self and say, yes, I went through that, but look where I am. It might not be where I want to be, but I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm on a journey that will blow people's minds away, like that will absolutely surprise. And as I move forward, I am that eagle that can fly higher than anybody else. I have that nest far above their doubts, their fears, because an eagle can fly higher than any other bird. It soars above the storms. It soars above the attacks from other birds, okay, that try to run it out. It just flies higher, and it's like, you know what? I'm done, and I'm not going to be held back, and that's you. It's like, I'm done. I'm done with this nonsense. I'm done with this pettiness. My vibrational energy way up here. People can't even see it. It's so high. And you're going to see yourself moving forward in that truth, moving forward in that grace. And it begins you in the public arena, taking a step that most of us find to be terrifying, and it's the pilgrim's journey. It is the sense of being guided by our spirit animals. I just think she's absolutely stunning. To move forward, to say, this is who I want to be. This is where I want to be. I want to connect with something more. We go on a sacred connection. We go on a spiritual adventure. We go on a personal adventure. We sit there and we find out that when the world opens up again fully, that we get to explore, we get to discover, we get to be, and that part of us is awakened in a way that it wasn't awakened before. And the fox spirit guides us. The fox spirit sits there and it says, yeah, life is filled with twists and turns. You'll never know where you'll end up if you take this road. But this road will connect you back to all that is sacred, to all that is important, to all that we have lost and yet are finding. And that becomes such a powerful truth for you in a way that you hadn't anticipated, in a way that you hadn't expected, in a beautiful power that is completely and utterly and undeniably yours. And it moves you forward in a way that just, it takes the cake, doesn't it? It's not in a bad way too. It's like, I know when people say, oh, that takes the cake, it's usually bad, but I just see you like taking that piece of cake and just savoring it. It becomes rich and it becomes beautiful and it becomes gorgeous. And it is so beautiful for you. And it is so powerful. And you embrace that journey. And you embrace that pathway that you never thought you would embrace. And people might sit there and be like, oh, Gemini, what the heck is up with you? What are you doing? Like, what is moving you forward? Because they don't hear the same song that you're hearing and healing from. This is like that vibrational energy. It's kind of like, the ringing of the singing bowl. It's like that vibrational energy speaks to you time and time again. And it moves you right here. It moves you to the Two of Earth, the Two of Pentacles. And what I love about this is that you have the mama bear cuddled with her babies. Is it two babies or is it one? No, it's just one baby right here. And that's what you need. You need that innocent aspect of you. You need that childlike innocence, and you also need that adult protection, that person who can see the bigger picture. And you need to embrace that power forward and that aspect within yourself. The Two of Pentacles for me means don't forget you. Don't forget you while you're balancing everything else. And as you're embracing everything, it's kind of like if this mama bear did not take care of herself, did not gather enough food, did not protect herself enough, when her baby bear was born, there would be no way that they would survive. There just wouldn't be. They'd both freeze because she wasn't prepared for the winter. And so here, as you begin your journey, as you begin your pilgrim's quest, which again, I love this card so much, you see that you have to take care of yourself. Because even in hibernation, even in that communion with spirit, even in that lucid dreaming kind of way, if you don't take care of yourself, and in the public arena, most definitely, like if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to move forward. You won't be able to sustain. And that's what divinity is saying here. It's like, take care of you to survive the winters. Take care of you to, even survive the summers. You have to be ever vigilant. And so here, as you begin your journey, it's like, don't begin your journey with an open heart and a beautiful spirit, but don't be so altruistic that you put yourself in harm's way, or don't be trying to be so much to everybody else that you don't draw that line and you don't sit there and say, okay, I know me, Like, I know who I am. And if I take on any more, I'll break. And you have to become aware of that. Because a lot of times we think, oh, I can just do a little bit more. Oh, I can just do a little bit more. But if we don't take that line, and we don't have that line and say, if I do any more, I'll break, then we wind up breaking for everybody else. And then we're broken and we're still trying to do everything for everybody else. And we'll just push ourselves that little bit more, until all the beauty is sucked out of our lives. And here, you're reclaiming the beauty, you're reclaiming the power. And it moves you to the Four of Fire, the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is that happiness, that celebration. It's that spirit guiding fox, seeing that they have more spirit guiding kits coming forward, and that connection to what we desire and what we're protecting and why we're protecting it. It's our dreams. It's our children. It's our nieces and nephews and grandchildren, and people that we meet, that we just absolutely connect with. It's dreams that we have that we let out into the world, and it's sitting there and it's saying, "Wow, there's beauty here," and it's a sly, brilliant beauty. But it is a beauty that molds us and shapes us and speaks to us and guides us forward, and is so exquisite and so profound. It is a celebration, and it's a celebration that we can't deny. We need to call it forward. And so during this time, you might not feel like you fit in with everybody else, and you have this urge, and you're going to be warring with it during this time, Gemini, where you're going to want to give everything to everybody else, but it's going to be like, okay, what about me? Like, how do I give to me? How do I move me forward? Where is it that I get to be? How is it that I get to embrace my life? Because you're embracing the maze. And the maze here, okay, you have, I was like, what the heck? What is that? That's the little foxtail right there. That's the fox bringing you into the maze, bringing you into this power. And you're walking forward. You're walking forward with spirit as your guide. You're walking forward, and this is the 6th card. So here, it's after, which one was the 5th card? It's after this one, the immersion into our dreams and our desires and the way that we want to move forward and what the world is calling us to do and what our soul is calling us to do, and finding this balance, and finding this understanding and embracing this brilliance. And we're like, oh my gosh, how do I move? How do I move in this truth? How do I connect in this way? Where is it that I stand? What is it that I stand for? How do I traverse this maze? How do I move forward? And there's a question here, most definitely, because you're going to find that, again, there are twists and turns that you hadn't anticipated. You didn't think life would bring you on this journey. You didn't even think this would be a part of your world. And it has become such an intricate and sacred part of you. It's become such an interesting part of you too. It starts opening up door after door after door. And the only way I can equate it is like doing the tarot for me. I never thought of this, ever. I loved it since I was 11. I think I got my first tarot deck, and my mom was like, oh, sure, try it out, whatever, and it became such a calling, and just such a calling. And to be led forward in the maze of life, to sit there and think, okay, well, you're supposed to become, a something, right? You're supposed to become a doctor. You're supposed to become a lawyer. You're supposed to become a teacher. You're supposed to become a mailman. You're supposed to become a cashier. You're supposed to have a normal existence. And then to be led on a spiritual journey that says, well, maybe normal isn't for you. Maybe there is something more here that guides you forward. And it doesn't mean, though it would be beautiful if you did dive into the tarot, it could be that you dive into one form of spiritual connection or another. And that expression, either through art or through, science, or through mathematics, or through, just simply the inhaling and exhaling of yourself. And as you're, living your life, and as you're passing this wisdom on to others, and they see from the light that guides you right here, and the way that you're moving forward, they're seeing hope within the maze. They're seeing power that leads you to something greater than you expected, more than you anticipated. And it has you rather surprised. You're rather surprised here, Gemini, at the way that you're moving forward, at the power it's calling to you within your heart, in the love that is surrounding you, and the wisdom that is guiding you. And let's go deeper, because it's just enchanting. It's going to be hard work. It is, because you will feel at times like crying. You will feel at times like, you've been protecting something so intensely, and yet not getting the rewards from it, not being able to be as free as you want to be. And you feel like you're finding your song, and you'll sing your song and then you'll lose your song. And so it can be very, very, very intense, very intense. But as long as you stay to your truth, and as long as you try, it doesn't mean that you have to win all the time, but as long as you try to rise above other people's chaos and storms and doubts and fears and anger and hurt, and you stay the keeper of your sacred wisdom, you're going to be surprised at where you end up, at how you move forward. Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, okay, that one goes right there. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, that one. There we go. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. Okay, and let's look at the people. Oh, goodness. There we go. That you have to be mindful of during this time. Who are the people that Gemini needs to be mindful of? January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. Who are the people that Gemini needs to be mindful of? January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. Who are the people that Gemini needs to be mindful of? January 1st to the 15th, 2021, Gemini. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Yeah, these two. Okay, fantastic. Ooh, excuse me, my jaw just popped. We have the Prince of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. It doesn't have to be restricted to a water sign energy. This is going to be a person who feels like they have to defend their emotions. It's like, this is how I feel. And you're like, okay, but like, this isn't the reality that I'm living in, or this isn't relevant right now, or, oh my gosh, you're feeling this way too much all the time, and I just can't, that type of thing is coming up. And with the Prince of Cups, it's like, no, but this is how I feel, and this is what I'm defending, and they're kind of taking it out of hand. And it can be that they're immersing themselves in a world that is really negative, and so it's kind of affected their way of seeing things. Most definitely, that could very well be the case. I remember when I was in college, I was studying the Armenian genocide, and I just kind of like lost it for a moment. I went too deeply down the rabbit hole. And that could be what somebody is doing. Now, it can be that somebody's actually doing that to themselves. If you're watching this and you're researching something, you're studying something, you're really fascinated about something, it can be for one very specific person, you're going too deep down the rabbit hole, okay? And that's going to be, yes, you're getting all this great information, but that's going to be a little bit dangerous. It's going to be like kind of step back, see the light again, embrace some joy, some laughter, some beauty, because it will just be too intense. So it can be researching, it can be helping people, it can be like your compassion is leading you to vulnerability. Okay? So that can be for one very specific person, that could be for a lot of people, but I'm just seeing it as being very important. So that's what this card is meaning right here. It can be dealing with somebody else who's being too drama-filled, most definitely. But for a lot of you Geminis, you're going to go too deep down the rabbit hole with something, with something that you're studying, something that you're looking at, something, and it's not going to serve you as well as if you go more gently, and if you start to feel it kind of wearing at you and you think, oh, just a little bit more, I'm being a baby about it. It's like, no, get out into the sunlight, watch a funny movie, play some really like crazy music that you can just dance to, do something that starts to raise that energy vibration and brings you out of that darkness, okay? Then we have here strength. This is somebody who is physically going to say, like, I'm strong and you will listen to me. It could be physically strong, or could be a boss, or, somebody that you have to listen to and you're like, oh my gosh, just stop. That's not going to be how you like things at all. During this time period, it's going to be that you really appreciate kind of strength of compassion, strength of inner wisdom. You're not going to be into this strength of brute force and this, you will follow me or else, because you're just going to sit there and be like, no, I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. So just know that about you, so that when this person starts kind of coming, you can rise up, because you're going to sit there and it can be that you're really inspired by them and you're listening to the person and you're like, oh, that works really great. And they're like, just keep pushing. And you need to go a little bit more gently during this time, Gemini, because there is such a profound sensitivity and there is such a vulnerable healing that is happening, that it's taking you out of the mainstream race and it's putting you in another direction. And it can almost feel like another dimension that you're thinking, wow, it's just not going to work for me. I can't just push and get what it is that I want. I need to embrace sacredly this truth that is guiding me forward. And it comes from the strength of the heart, the strength of compassion, the strength of love that really starts changing everything for you. And then we have here Taurus energy. This is April 20th to May 20th is the time frame. The Leo energy right here is July 23rd, there we go, to August 22nd of the Strength card. This is going to be somebody who's stubborn. They're just stubborn, they're thick-headed, they have to do things their certain way, and that's not going to be you. You're going to be like, well, why not? They're going to ask why, and that's going to be your answer. Why not? Like, why not do something different? Why not move forward in a way that you hadn't anticipated? Why not? And this is you taking convention and taking, being very grounded, very stable, very, very steady, seeing the connection in things, and maybe kind of turning things just a little bit on their heads. It's not being foolish at all. It is being very serious about things, but it is also sitting there and saying, well, I have to take that leap of faith on me. I have to move forward. And somebody here is going to be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more like, well, but this was the way it was always done. And your answer is going to be, well, doesn't that mean it's supposed to change now? Doesn't that mean that we're supposed to step forward in a way that we hadn't anticipated? Again, it doesn't mean like you run off and join the circus type of deal. It just means that there's just a sense of needing to fly, just needing to soar. And even if it's just in your meditations where you let your body soar, and just be very mindful of keeping that tether to your heart, to your soul, to yourself, like visualizing, holding that tether in your hand, but letting your spirit soar like an eagle to heights that you hadn't imagined. That's going to be so freeing and so beautiful for you, Gemini. The Four of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Four of Cups. The repeat of the number 4 is saying be comfortable within your skin, within your home, within yourself. The Two of Swords, Judgment. Oh, I love that. That falls perfectly in line with the holiday season, right? So that's beautiful. Also with winter, if you live somewhere nice and cold like I do. Oh, your crown with all 4. So it's time to connect with your heart, your soul, yourself. Respecting your spirit is so important. Then you have Temperance, which is, again, the Sagittarius energy coming forward. You have that in the people who aid you during this time. And you have the Three of Wands, new horizons on the horizon for you. There's new ways of moving forward that you hadn't expected. The Four of Swords is as you heal and as you become the goddess of your emotions, and as the goddess of emotions connects with you, as you connect with that sacred feminine energy, you again give honor to all the hardships, all the pains, all the disappointments that you had to go through. The swords, always with the swords, they are the only weapon within the tarot, the only true weapon. Like, you can sit there and say, okay, well, what else can a sword be. And you could say, okay, well, I can maybe cut down a tree with it, but it's not as effective as an axe or anything like that. So here, there is the sense of needing to connect with the weapon that is your mind, and needing to connect with the way that you have honed your mind, and the way that pains, disappointments, and that barren desert of despair has shaped you, which sounds like an odd thing to say, but it's not. It's healing from letting it be all that you see. It's like, all that I see is hardship and pain and disappointment. And it's like, not anymore. Now I'm paying homage to every hardship, every disappointment, every pain that I have been through. And I'm moving myself forward in a way that I hadn't imagined, in a way that I didn't think could happen. And as I do so, you get this gift here, Gemini, as you are a wisdom keeper, okay? A keeper of the sacred knowledge. God, source, spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, hands you this gift of knowledge, of understanding, of cutting through doubts and fears, of seeing your truth, of, embracing your profound power forward. And you're going to sit there and cut through a lot of the mental red tape that you have had that has kept you held back. And it's like, no more. No more am I holding myself back. Am I keeping myself from the place that I need to be spiritually, personally, ideally. And yes, I use the weapon of my mind, and I use the weapon that divinity has given me to change my reality, to move forward in my power, to heal, and to keep the stories of myself and of my people and of my spiritual development. And it leads you to the Ten of Wands as you dive deeply into the waters of your truth, and as you gain this understanding. The Ten of Wands is you're letting go of a burden. You're letting go of a burden you don't want to carry anymore. It can be the burden of others. It can be that burden of trying to keep everybody happy. It can be the burden of the fears and the doubts and the disappointments that you've had that have been held on to for way too long. And you let them go. You see yourself say, enough is enough. And you let them go. And you start to embrace your dreams. You start to embrace your passion. You start to embrace your desires. And it leads you here to the Four of Cups as you sing your truth, as you see yourself moving forward in a way that you hadn't expected. Divinity hands you a gift that you're not really looking for. You're going to sit there and look at it and think, well, that's nice. It's kind of like when somebody gives you a gift and you're like, what the heck do I do with this? But you're trying to be polite, but it kind of shows. So here, you're moving forward in this power and in this grace and in this beauty, and you're going to be handed this gift that feels like a curveball, and you're going to be like, well, what the heck do I do with this? And then you're going to find that it becomes part of your song. It becomes part of your truth. It is going to be the way I see the Four of Cups. It's like the plainest, most nondescript cup. It is the one that's either kind of crudely carved from wood or made with clay, and you can see all the finger marks in it, and you're going to think, well, what the heck is this? And then you're going to realize, oh wow, this was carved by an angel's sword. Or, oh wow, this was, molded by angels' hands. And they want you to see the cut marks. They want you to see their fingerprints. They want you to place your fingers where their fingers were. And it's going to be the most amazing thing. It is. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is something huge. And it leads you to the Two of Swords over the Two of Swords. It leads you to seeing your world open up in a way that you hadn't expected. Seeing your dreams open up in a way that the world hadn't carved out for you before, but that you have carved out for yourself. And you find yourself flying forward. You find yourself moving forward in a way that is extraordinary. And your lungs are filled with your truth and your power and your greater understanding. And it brings you to judgment. It brings you to the calling of the Nordic or Niceless, like the way to move forward in love and in joy and in power and in understanding. And it has you with the Four of Air, the Four of Swords. Again, you give homage. You're crowned with it here in your inner self. You're rooted with it here in your heart. And you find that joy. You find that this resurrection of beauty and this coming together of love and understanding and the celebration of the world when it is silent and the world when it is boisterous. And you're finding your place within it all, your power within it all. And it leads you to the Four of Pentacles. It leads you to what you have buried, becoming something very different. This poor little squirrel has buried these seeds, and one seed is becoming a tree. And so you might sit there and be like, oh, yay, squirrel, now you have a tree to choose from. But in the winter, when he's looking for his food, he might not be too thrilled that there's a sapling, trying to survive the winter instead of the tree. So it's on your pilgrim's journey. Things are going to come about unexpectedly. But for me, the Four of Pentacles is also, and on your, connection with the Two of Pentacles right here, there's a sense of this protection, this beauty, this understanding, and needing to balance it all. But this is the vampiric energy. The Four of Pentacles for me is vampiric energy that pulls it all away, that sits there and says, I can't do this. I can't move forward this way. I have to bury it. I have to hide it because they're going to come. And you might not know why the fear is there or who the they is, or you might have a very good idea of it. You could sit there and say, oh, it was, growing up, it was school, it was so hard, it was my family, they were never proud of me, it was my ex, they always belittled me. And so you hide away, and you'll find that with the Four of Pentacles, we tend to meet wound mates. We tend to meet people who continuously bring this vampiric energy in a very specific way, okay, in a way that we're vulnerable to. It can be being too kind. It can be, trying to help out. It can be however it is for you, where you sit there and you give, and they just take, and they take, and they take, and they take all your energy. They take all your hope. They take all your joy. And you find that you're trying to hold on to it because now you've become defensive. It's like, no, this is mine. Like, I need to hold on to this. And so this is releasing that vampiric energy. This is saying, you don't get to have it. There's a wall here between you and me. You don't get to have it. I release you. I release you because I can't change you. I release you because I am embraced by the goddess of water, by the goddess of healing. And I know that I can only rule my life, and I can't change yours. And it will change. It will be the seeds that start to grow into plants. It becomes the power that becomes a intrinsic and central part of you that moves you forward on this journey. And it leads you to balance. It leads you to celebration. It leads you to knowing that the energy that you take on within reflects outward amazingly. Because remember, and why I love this with flamingos, is that flamingos are traditionally white birds. They turn pink because of the food that they eat. And if they're wild flamingos, I don't know if they're, if they're wild flamingos, they're not as bright a pink. If they're in captivity, I believe they're a little bit darker because of the food. And it could be, dye or whatever. But here, there's a sense of letting that kind of tinge of pink come forward. That very light, subtle beauty that nobody's expecting. And pink is, of course, my favorite color, so why not let it shine through? And there's the sense of it bringing joy, it bringing the rainbows forward, it's bringing love and laughter and brilliance. And it's letting you soar. And it's realizing, wow, I can be sensitive to the world around me, and that's not a bad thing. It's letting you, look at the balance that you need within your life, the way that you need to look forward and evaluate the energy that you're letting in and the energy that you're taking out and the place that you want to be and the waters that inspire and seeing your place, just finding that balance. And it might not be the same place tomorrow as it is today, but you're okay with that because the world is constantly changing and you're constantly changing with it, evolving and growing and becoming so powerful and so brilliant. And it leads to the maze that you're entering into with that spirit guide of the fox guiding you forward. And you're finding that new horizons lay before you. You're finding that there's a new way forward that you hadn't expected, you hadn't anticipated. And you're thinking, my gosh, this gets to be me, doesn't it? This gets to be me. And I am most greatly connected in a way that I hadn't expected. My ships come in, my ships go out. And I get to have this, don't I? I get to not be stuck, and I get to not be small, and I get to not be hidden away. And it doesn't mean that the whole world will know your name or you're rock star famous or, movie star famous, which I think is highly overrated. It means that you get to be powerfully and brilliantly you. And you get to love that. You get to love that part of your heart and that power of your soul. And it gets to become such a brilliant and powerful part of your being. So let's look at your spirit animal message. How will Gemini be affected? Well, not affected. Gemini, January 1st to the 15th, 2021 Gemini. 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 Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. These two. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, and these two. Okay. Ooh, 4 and 4 for chakra message and spirit animal message. So we start with the bat spirit. A rebirth is assured. You are definitely being reborn during this time. There is a power that you are embracing. That's shocking. And there's a sense of kind of coming out of your shell and stepping into yourself in a way that you hadn't anticipated. The dolphin, this and that are true. That's one thing with Geminis. We love to see the duality in the world. So this and that are true. But it's time to embrace the truth that brings you peace and to not sit there and worry about everybody else. The thing with Geminis, that's why we're represented by the lovers, is because we want everybody to love us. We want to live in love, which I think is brilliant, and I think that's a great place to be. But it's also very hard. It's also very hard to call this love and call this peace and call this power forward and not lose ourselves to everybody else. So here with this and that being true, it's like, yes, okay, this is valid and this is valid, but I get to move forward in the peace of my soul, in the power of my heart, in the beauty of myself. And that gets to be the truth that I hold on to. And it brings you to the canary spirit, just like the wolf spirit. It says here, sing your own song. Sing your own song. Be your truth. Let it shine loudly and let it be just brilliant. And you can feel it. You can feel it when you're not singing your song. It's like the canary in the mine. You can definitely feel when you're singing either somebody else's song or you're embracing somebody else's truth. I'm sorry about the glare on that. You're going to find that it becomes your kind of canary in a coal mine. When the song stops ringing true for you, or you forget that you have this beautiful song inside of you, and you're just kind of like, oh well, I'm just existing, but there's no beauty, there's no song. That's when you need to step back and you need to say, no, that's not me. I can't do it. And then it brings you to the buffalo spirit. The abundant universe will provide. There's a sense now that everything is lack, only a few lucky people get to have anything. And it's like, no, the abundant universe will provide. Stay true to you. Stay true on your path. Embrace your power. Embrace your deeper understanding and move forward in it. The abundant universe will take care of you. And there is a level of faith here, yes. It's not just sitting back, on your tush eating chips kind of thing, but it is knowing that the universe will lead you forward and that there's abundance in this world for you. It most likely will not be rock star or movie star abundance and having, mansions and everything like that. But it's being comfortable and safe and secure. And that is worth its weight in gold. Let's see what your subconscious spirit animal message is. We have the vulture spirit. Nothing is wasted. And isn't that what this tarot journey has taught us? Nothing is wasted. There have been the good times. There have been the bad times. And everything in between. And though we look at vultures and feel a revulsion to them, they're also magnificent in the way that they clean the earth, in the way that they take care of things, in the way that they can survive without interference in a sense. And there's power to that. There really is. It brings you then to the subconscious person message. The death card, Scorpio energy. Excuse me. This is a sense of walking between worlds. The world of the spiritual and the world of the practical. This is gaining a deeper truth, a deeper understanding. This is looking at the shadows. This is holding things to yourself. Oh, Gemini. I myself am a Gemini, and in my younger days, and sometimes even now, I tend to like to share things too much. I get too excited and I can't keep it, and I'm like a little kid and I bubble over with it. Keep things to yourself a bit more. It's just powerful. It's powerful because you don't take yourself by eyes. You get to stew in your truth, in your dream, in your passion, in what you desire. And it's so powerful for you. It's so beautiful. And so by embracing the Scorpio energy, especially if you have Scorpio in your chart, you might find that the Gemini energy and the Scorpio energy can be a bit at war with each other. There is a sense of stepping back and saying, there's a way forward. I might not see it right now. I might not be fully aware of it, but I'm embracing it, and it is exquisite for me. And that's what you're doing, and it's going to really be exquisite for you. Powerful. It brings you then to your subconscious chakra message, your root chakra, abundance. You are rooted in abundance, Gemini. Embrace it. It's no longer being rooted as a pauper. It's no longer thinking that success is for everybody else. You are rooted in this abundance, and this abundance is profoundly a part of you. Your subconscious tarot message is the craftsman of water. You're calling forward the rains. You're calling forward the water. You are creating a downpour of blessings. And it gets to become a part of you. That craftsman, the craftsman in this deck is equated to the queen in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is creating and cultivating. This is being behind the scenes. This is working diligently and brilliantly and blessedly towards a goal. And this is having the waters, having the spiritual truth, having the emotional truth, having this guidance of heart rain down on you in a way that is so deeply needed and so powerfully sacred. It leads you then to go deeper into the subconscious message, and it leads you to the Seven of Pentacles. Be patient. Be patient, because what you most long for is coming. Don't rush it. It won't be as sweet. Though you're going to want to. You really are. You're going to sit there and be like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. No, it won't be as sweet as when divinity provides. All right, Gemini. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. It was a blessing and a real privilege to be able to bring you this reading. So let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as you step forward into an unbelievable healing, as you transcend what has held you back, and as you rise in a way that you never expected, and as you're guided by Spirit to a place you might never have thought you would stand, but that feels like home. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini, and may you have a blessed time.